Well, hey there. Welcome back to Satisfactory for Dummies. I'm Joe Mama, your head dummy in charge. And if you look in front of me, you're going to see a very nascent oil production effort. So we've got a little bit of oil being processed into some critical stuff that we need, but we've got so much crap to cover today. Good stuff, exciting stuff that we need to get right to it. So obviously we're going to cover oil. We're also going to cover trains. We're going to cover hard drives. We're going to cover all kinds of great stuff. Let's show you where on the map we are, because that's the sort of thing we do. Here's our starting point, and yeah, we have a truck now. We're going to get to that. That's another thing we're going to cover. Let's get right to it. First thing we need to do is get back to our home base. Oh, and guess how we're going to get back to our home base? We're going to use hypertubes. Take a look at this. Oh yeah, and we're going to cover gas plants, fuel power plants. Yeah, we're going to cover that. So anyway, woohoo! Can we look at the map? Yeah, we can see ourselves moving through the hypertubes on the map. And there you see us moving. Okay, we have this little midway point where I've set up a spot for our quartz. You remember we found a source of quartz? I belted it over here to where this is going to be the path of our trains. We're going to be doing trains today. So anyway, set up a little bit of quartz, basically so we could produce some crystallized quartz. That's an important thing. Anyway, we set it up here so that we could eventually have it picked up by a train. Now's not the time to cover that. We're going to keep heading down our hypertube network. Now see, the hypertubes, I had to set these up because I was going back and forth between these different places trying to set stuff up, and it was getting cumbersome to just driving a vehicle and constantly having to pay attention as I did that. So it was easier just to set up hypertubes, which somebody asked, hey, is it okay to set up hypertubes all over the place? Absolutely. These things are great. Eventually you can just ride the train. But hypertubes are awesome. Don't be afraid to use them, and don't be afraid to make them as long as you want. Just remember what I said in the last episode about making sure you understand that you have to put an entrance and exit, or just an entrance at both ends, and power them up. Okay, look at this platform right here. I said that trains have been unlocked. You remember in the last episode we were about ready to research trains. Well, I researched it during the off time. During off camera, so I completed that research on trains. So now if we hit Q and go to transportation, oh, by the way, you're gonna see here's a truck and here's the Explorer. We're gonna make one of these today, absolutely. But more importantly, we've got trains, and you can see we've got the electric locomotive, the freight car, train stations, we've got freight platforms, we've got the fluid freight platforms, and I don't think we actually have to make a tank car, do we? I don't think we have to have do we have to have a fluid car? That I don't honestly remember. I might be wrong. Maybe it's just a matter of setting up fluid freight and it puts the tank on the freight car. I don't know. The freight car can be used in railroads, attached to electric locomotive, and the freight car transport resources. Resources loaded, unloaded, got it. Okay. It said it right there. Has 1,600 cubic meters or 32 slot capacity depending on the resources. Okay, so it is a freight car or a tank car, does not matter. Okay, so an empty platform width. Maybe I never noticed that before. Is that new? I think that might be new. I don't remember that before. But here's the railway, and also signals. Now, if you remember anything about Factorio, trains and the research thereof, the unlocking thereof of trains, is the key point in the game where you can start thinking globally, because you can go all over the map and transport resources globally. By the way, here we are. This is where we're at right now, right there. And the platform, let's see if I look out that way. Okay, you can see where I'm pointing, this way, over this void. That is where we are going to build our master base. This is going to be where the trains eventually come in. Everything gets dropped off here, processed here, turned into stuff here. This is going to be our base of operations. But for now, we're working from our bootstrap base, kind of. Okay, let's go back. We're going to continue to our bootstrap base. which is down here. You can see it. Pretty big, but still not as big as that platform up there, which, by the way, is nowhere near done. Okay, I've been busy. You can see, I've been busy. Boom. Okay, so over here, you can see that big platform there. It's amazing. Now, okay, it seems to be, as I'm going through this game several times, there always seems to be a progression. There's the little bootstrap base that we made. This is the little base that we made when we first started out, and it grows a little bit. And it's from this that we create our basic resources to go on and make an even bigger base, where the whole idea here, this big base here, is just to give us plenty of room to make research materials, a limited amount of research materials. Quantity isn't quite as important. We just need to be able to make the materials, whatever they might be. Quantity will be what happens on that platform when we extend it out and we turn it into a massive ass factory. So I want to show you something else. Where are they at? Okay, so with trains, if we take a look, let's go to Q. Now look, if you look at the resources required to make these trains, you got the electric locomotive, the freight car, train station, and you can see a couple of recurring resources that we need. The most obvious of which is that reinforced frame, where we need 5 of them. This one requires 4. Train station requires 4. Platforms require 2 or 6. And it also requires computers. Those are complex materials that require more than 2 ingredients to create. And I'm going to show you what I did over here. This manufacturing machine right here produces computers. It just needs plastic. We have to bring plastic into it. Now, plastic, we couldn't get plastic without the oil. That's why I went ahead and produced a little bit of set up a little bit of oil production off camera so that we had access to that plastic and we could get some of these things done. There are a lot of important steps that needed to happen, and so we've starting to get some computers here, but the problem we've got right now is that plastic is all the way over there where we started the game, which is way beyond on the other side of that platform. We need to get that plastic here. Trains are the way to do that. And also, there was something else. One of the components for the computer, by the way, is this circuit board. This circuit board is coming in. We haven't really talked about that one either, have we? That's coming in from over here. I set up this assembler to make circuit boards. It takes the copper sheets that we made a couple episodes ago, maybe, mixes it with plastic to make the circuit boards. Now the plastic, I hand jam it into this container right here. Okay, so let me drop a little bit in there. So we see the plastic go through there. Some of it goes in here, and you can see it feeds this, and it starts making these circuit boards. By the way, using the slugs, I totally boosted our speed. We have the power to take it, and some of the plastic, when we put it in that container, some goes into this assembler, some goes to the manufacturer to aid in making computers. So that's where the rest of it's going, but that didn't last very long. But yeah, I went ahead and increased the clock speed real quick using the slugs, the power slugs. But this machine, which normally uses a few megawatts, is using more than 50. And this manufacturer over here, which uses almost 50 without any boosting, I had to boost the speed here as well. It's using almost 200 megawatts. Let's go ahead and take a look at how much power we're consuming right now. Look at that. We're consuming almost 1200 megawatts. Our max consumption right now is over 27. We've actually got a higher number of loads. We've got a higher amount of load than we do production capacity. Oh, by the way, we're producing 2400 megawatts. Why are we producing 2400 megawatts? We should be producing... Oh, you know why? Probably because we're gonna have to go back and talk about that. Well, okay, so here's the thing. 2400, you remember that's our coal plants, right? Well, we've also got, if we go back over here where the oil is being produced, which is here, we're also producing fuel as a byproduct, and we'll get to that. And this fuel can be used to make power. This is a great invention in this game. We want to get these fuel generators. By the way, the fuel generator, it was sort of a byproduct of Mark IV. Hang on, let's go to the hub. Let's go to the hub. These belts, like this belt here, is a Mark I. We've got Mark II, Mark III belts in play. Off camera, I went ahead and researched Mark IV logistics. Let me see if we can take a look at that at all at the hub. And maybe we can see what we're doing here. No, I can't take a look at that. Okay, well, also a jetpack. Ooh, we're waiting on resources for the jetpack. Oh, can we throw rubber in there too? What else do we need? We need fuel. Packaged fuel. Okay. Okay, we can't see it here. I really wish, that's one thing I wish this game would do, is it would keep a record of everything you've done, all the research you've done, just as sort of a reference. Because Mark IV logistics gave us fast belts. If we take a look at logistics here, we've got the conveyor belt Mark IV, and we can use concrete encased steel beams to make it. But for some reason, when we researched that, that's what gave us the fuel generator. The fuel generator didn't happen because we researched oil. It happened because we researched Mark IV logistics. And I'm okay with that. Now, I just wanted that fuel generator. Fuel, as you will see, is sort of a byproduct of oil refining, and it's something we kind of need. The fuel we can use to generate power. We're going to get to all that. But I want to show you something else. Hard drives and trucks. Okay, so this I kind of started using by accident. I accidentally dropped my tractor. I dropped the tractor into this hole by mistake, and the only way to get it out of the hole was to disassemble the tractor. Oh, yep, as a matter of fact, when I disassembled the tractor, it left behind a crate. What's in the crate? Yep, okay. If you ever disassemble something and you don't have room in your inventory to hold it, a little gray crate is going to pop up somewhere nearby, and that will hold everything until you can pick it up. And then once you pick it up, the crate disappears. So anyway, keep in mind, if you see, like, where do these little gray crates come from? Where the hell? It's because you tried to collect something, you dismantled it, and you didn't have the space in the inventory to accommodate the ingredients. And so I disassembled that, the tractor, and then I was in such a rush, I was frustrated, and you know, I go to Q, like transport, truck, and it was, for some reason, instead of hitting tractor, I hit truck, and I happened to have enough resources on me to make a truck. But I want to make the Explorer. I really want to make the Explorer instead of the truck. The truck is great. Do we have everything we need? No, we don't. We need crystal oscillators, and I think I can get that. Okay, so the truck is cool. It has the workbench, it has the inventory, but it has a big inventory. Look at that. That's why it's a truck. Okay. All right, I think, let's take a look up here, but I think the crystal oscillators, I made a bunch of them. I think they might be in here. Yes. Yes, that's enough. That'll do, pig. Let's set this puppy up, because this is a nice machine. Let's also grab some biofuel. We need biofuel. A little bit. Do I have enough space? I have no space on me. Damn. Okay. I do have some biofuel. But anyway, that'll have to do for now. This thing, go to here. See, not much of an inventory, but we can put fuel in it. Hop in. All right. This thing is nice and maneuverable. But we're going somewhere. We're gonna go check out something. The hard drive. There's a hard drive down here. We're gonna go get it. What's a hard drive, Eric? Well, you're about to find out. Hey, fella. Okay, this, by the way, there's some coal up there along with some sulfur. But we won't deal with that right now. Okay, hard drives. In this game, you're going to find these crashed freighters every so often. And you're going to find resource materials sitting around the wreck. But it indicates the fact that you probably are not the first person from Fix-It to come to this planet. Somebody else tried and failed. So you're going to find these freighters. So it says E, open the drop pod. Okay, it says operational because it's going to give you this requirement. Before it can open up, it has to give you this requirement. Now, apparently, we already meet it because I have screws in my inventory. And you need 12 screws to open this particular drop pod. So, let's go ahead and open it, see what we find. And you find this little hard drive. So we're going to go ahead and pick that up. And now, that drop pod's kind of useless. But still. But you're going to find these scattered throughout the map. And they're usually protected by some kind of creature. And I must have, when I built that ramp there, I must have not checked out the hard drive. I must have just went right past it. But, because there are a couple of hard drives that I have found off camera. And collected the drives. But a hard drive, you take it back to the MAM. The MAM can decrypt the contents of the hard drive, and it will open up some options for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this to the MAM. We're going to drop it off so that work can be done on it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, so we'll drop this off, and it says right here, first thing on the list, hard drive. So you found one. Go ahead, hit scan the hard drive. So it's going to take about 10 minutes to do the scan. And then after 10 minutes, we'll come back and see what's available to us. There are other hard drives on the map, and we're going to go get them. But here's where we are on the map right now. And when we come back, we'll get the next hard drive. So here we are at another location, which is basically the other end of the explored map. And we've got this hard drive here. Okay, it says operational again because it requires rotors. It requires 21 rotors. And in this case, we happen to have some on us. I believe that was pure chance that we had it on us. I did not stage that. Okay, so we've got that hard drive. I had to think about that. I'm like, I thought we already had a hard drive. Why does it say we have one? Oh, right, because we left it off to be researched. So anyway, so we got that one. Now we have one more that I found earlier that I didn't pick up. And it says it requires power. So let's go on over. And can we pick that sucker up? It is to the east. Yes, it is to the east. Not far, actually. It's actually very close. So let's go get this one right here. Okay, this one. Now you can see what it looks like if you don't have the requirements. Right there, it says repairs needed. The battery is broken, so it needs 30 megawatts worth of power. Well, as it happens, we do have the ability to make 30 megawatts worth of power using biomass burners. And since we're basically going back to episode 1 or 2 here, let's set up a pole, set up power. Okay, and we can attach it right to the machine, right to the downed machine. And let's see, let's split and split again, insert one there, and insert one there, and that is 40 megawatts. So that should be more than enough, or it's 30. Oh, 30, right. Yeah, it's producing 30, but it's a total of a max of 40. It's operational. There we go. All right. And we pick up that hard drive. And now that we've done that, we can suck these up, Buttercup. Okay, so let's head back to our base, and we're going to talk about trains. Well, hey there. You're watching this because the video is corrupted. Starting at the point that wherever this starts and the video ends, that's where I ran into corruption. The video just sat there and jiggled like a freaking piece of jello and sat there for a whole additional hour of just jiggling screens. So unfortunately, we miss out on the part where I actually build the first train and introduce it. But I have additional video recorded where we actually set up the first train, but that's actually going to go into the next video, which I'm going to immediately go to work on. So this is going to be the end of this video, but stand by because very shortly the next one will come up and it will cover trains, setting up and running the first train and getting oil set up and a whole bunch of other stuff. So, and then if there's anything else that I missed in that video that got corrupted that I can't think of right now, I'll try to write it down because the audio is not corrupted, just the video. But I'll try to write down the material that I covered and see if we can cover it again in an additional video. okay? But in any case, just letting you know that the following video after this is going to have trains in it, and you're going to be like, when did they introduce trains? Well, that's why I'm making this this little video clip here. So I will see you then. Ciao. Okay, we're back. Just had a little issue with a very rambunctious cat and a cup of coffee, and so it was a little bit of a mess in there, so kind of had to split things up a little bit. Where was I? What was I doing when I dropped? Okay. Oh, right, we were talking about the refineries. Okay, so in this particular arrangement, we've got basically 180 cubic meters of crude oil being converted into 120 units of plastic per minute and 60 cubic meters of heavy oil residue per minute. So we take some of that 60 and convert 60 per minute. Actually, we're taking all of that 60 per minute and converting it to fuel at a rate of 40 per minute. So what we would need to do is find a way to get rid of that fuel, because again, the byproducts, if any of the byproducts can't be produced or consumed, it will back up and it will stop the production of the primary product, which is our plastic. So what I've been able to do is, these are empty? Yeah, these are empty, aren't they? Okay, we've got these fuel oil plants. They're just fuel plants, fuel generators, and they will take the fuel at a rate of 12 cubic meters per minute. Now I said we were producing 40, a rate of 40 per minute. So if these things consume 12 per minute, then 3 of them will consume 36 per minute, which gives us a little bit of a surplus. So in reality, I should be adding a 4th plant, and that way we could produce 600 megawatts instead of 450. So anyway, also we've got to pump the fuel. I put these buffers in place to kind of absorb the fuel while I researched the ability to create these fuel plants. And now that we've got the ability, now we can go ahead and do it. Okay, but really we got to figure out where the break is. Somewhere there's a break in the power line for some reason, but you know what? We can actually overcome that. Whatever that break is, we can overcome it by attaching right to the grid. Okay, where's the... Oh, you know what? Let's go up this ramp, and we're going to go up to the station. And with that way, we can remember what I said about the train stations attached to each other and provide power for each other? Yeah, so that's what this thing is going to do. So I wonder where the brake is. That's not energized either, but it's about to be. Oh, wait a second. Okay, yeah, where is... Let's see, power line, and then Alt 1. There we go. For some reason, that dropped. It's substituted for something else. There we go. That should power those things up now, right? Yeah, buddy. Because now it's bringing in power through the railroad tracks, or through the monorail. So there we go. So now the time has come to bring plastic up to this station. Huh, I wonder where the power line break was. I must have disconnected it in the process of running the rails. Wouldn't be the first time something like that's happened. Okay, now these... We don't yet have fuel, right? Doesn't have quite enough fuel yet? Oh, these can't produce because they're backed up. The primary product, which is the plastic, is backed up, isn't it? Am I right? Yeah, it's all backed up. So it can't produce fuel oil, which can't produce power from those power plants. So what we need to do is we need to relieve the pressure, basically, by emptying the plastic that's in these containers, because this thing should be full of plastic. Yes, it is. All right, so where's our... Okay, that's where we need to go. Let's go ahead and attach 2 of them. Okay, attach that one to there. So there. I think that did it. Okay. Yes, that will get the plastic up into our train station. And you can see the vertical conveyors bringing it up there. Now also, I did for a while create some rubber. And let's go ahead, I'm actually going to grab... Not here, not here. Okay. What was this set up for? Oh, I temporarily set it up to change some copper into wire, but I can actually disassemble this thing now. Not necessary to have it, so let's disconnect those. Oh, and there's the mystery box. Okay, copper, yeah. Okay, let's actually make some wire out of the copper that we've created. Get it out of my inventory. The copper ingots. Okay, so got rid of that little crate. And now let's go ahead and change turn the rest of the copper into wire. Oh, you know what? No, actually, we could turn some into copper sheets, couldn't we? And copper sheets we will use. Okay, so now because we're producing plastic, and thus we are also producing heavy oil residue, we're also producing fuel, which means we're also producing fuel. And as you can see, we're skirting along between 2550 and 2850 megawatts. So that means these plants, as needed, are coming on and off as they have the ability to do so. Okay, we see here the train platforms, the freight platforms are being loaded up. Now we also have the ability to name the station itself. Let's go ahead and call this plastic pickup 1 for now. We can always change it. Our oil processing is going to be determined by what our needs are. Now, as you saw, there's a bunch of things we can do. There's a bunch of things we can produce with a refinery. For example, for research needs, we're actually going to need to produce, let's see, let's go ahead and select a different recipe. Let's talk about fuel. And we can actually make fuel as a primary product, but that's going to leave us with polymer resin as a byproduct. But we're going to need polymer resin for research purposes. So also, let me take a look. Recipe. Okay, some of these, like residual rubber, we can actually, and residual plastic, we can mix with water. We can actually take the resin and mix it with water, and we can get rubber or we can get plastic. So that's another way we could go. Just all things to consider when you're processing oil. But I think what we're going to end up doing is we're going to need a lot of power. Okay, power is going to be a big deal for now until we can get nuclear power up and running. So I think what we're going to find out, we're going to go to the different places that oil exists throughout the map, collect oil, make lots of plastic, and also lots of fuel. Or we could just straight up make fuel, and then kind of like plastic sort of becomes a byproduct if we do it right. There's a way to, let's see, if we go to select recipe, we go back here, we can use plastic, residual plastic, rubber, residual rubber, fuel, and residual fuel. We can mix the 6 of those processes up to create sort of a zero-sum thing, sort of a zero-sum result that gives us plastic, gives us rubber, and all the byproducts are consumed, and we're left with a whole bunch of fuel, and we can take that fuel and burn it and turn it into power. And that's kind of a huge thing as well. So there's a few options available to us. But one of the things I think we need to consider right now is a turnaround. We need to consider turning this train around. We need to give it a place to actually turn around. So in order to do that, okay, this can be a little complicated. We can use kind of like traffic circles. I like to use the traffic circles, the roundabouts from Factorio. I love to use those. But the problem here is that they're not quite so easy to manage. Okay, traffic circles in this game, I'm sitting on top of an observation tower, are a little bit tricky. If somebody knows a better way to do this, I'm all ears, but quite frankly, they're a little bit of a pain in the butt as far as I'm concerned. Okay, the way to do this is mark out a 9x9, at least the way I do it. Mark out a 9x9 grid. You can see these lampposts have marked it out. And you can see I've placed our helper tracks, 2 of them. We need a total of 4 at an angle. And let's see, make sure I do this right. Okay, so you've got, let's see, one grid, bring one grid in diagonal, and then there's half of another grid, sort of. And you see that square's right there, then you've got this square right here. But what you do, center that on that particular vertex right there, and then click, bring it up. Okay, so on the vertex, bring it in 1, anchor it, and then anchor that on the vertex, and then bring that in 1. Okay, you can sort of see how I did that. Okay, bring that in. Now I'm going to do the same thing here. Okay, so bring that in 1, right there, anchor it, bring that to the vertex, and then bring that in 1. Okay, so there you go. Now go ahead, connect them up with your curves. You do need to put, and you're going to leave those helper tracks in there because you actually can't have, okay, now you can actually run your tracks like that. Okay, but the thing is, you can't actually connect your tracks even though there's a junction. Hang on, where's 9? Right there. You can't actually put a track there because it says too close to another switch. So, but you can put it here, and then you could run the track, you know, that way, for example. You see what I'm saying? So there we go. We did it inside of a 9x9 grid. So that's how that's going to work. Now we're going to go ahead and run the track back to our base. And we'll come back when that's done. Oh, and can I just say, let's go ahead and set up our block signal. And what you want to do is you can set them up at the junctions, as I said. They have to match the proper direction and isolate the entire circle. Okay, don't cut the circle into sections. Isolate the entire circle. It's just as easy to do that. And we're going to go ahead, put this there, and this right here. Again, these signals can only be placed at the track breaks. So like I said, we'll be back when we run the track the rest of the way back to the base. Okay, I think that does it. That connects everything into at least a single loop that a single train can use. So let's go ahead and set this up. Okay, this is going to be skeved seat. No, we're going to go ahead and change the name. We're going to call this PLAST plastic drop 1. All right, so that's done. And now let's hop in the train. We can do this. Hit Q. Now we can manually drive it. Push forward, and we go forward. Push back, and it applies the brakes. So what we do instead is we're going to hit Q. We can open up the locomotive info. We can edit the timetable. We've got 2 stations to choose from. We're leaving plastic drop. So let's say plastic pickup is the next place we want to go, and then plastic drop is the next place we want to go. And then we save the changes. And now you can see it here. The next station is plastic pickup. It sees it automatically. Let's call this the train. We can change the name of the train. PLA. Plastic mover. And you can see it uses 25 megawatts right now. I don't know if it's actually using it right now. Let's go ahead and turn on self-driving. Nope. Okay, yeah, it uses it just sitting there. But to accelerate, it's actually accelerating up over 100 megawatts, and to climb the hill, you can see it's using about 70 megawatts to climb the hill. Let's watch this thing go through its paces. And And this is also a good way to check, make sure we got continuity throughout all the rails, because this thing will tell us if it can't get from point A to point B. And it's on its own right now. I'm hands off the keyboard, it's just using the mouse to kind of scroll around. Not a bad way to see the USA. Okay, this isn't the USA, this isn't even Earth, but still, not a bad way to see the planet. If you look off to our right, you can see where our quartz production was going on, and we'll use that platform to kind of set up a, we'll actually set up a quartz pickup as well at some point, but not right now. I might do that off camera. Just a way to get quartz to our base. And now let's see if our traffic circle is, our roundabout is going to do its job. All right. And now, whatever is loaded in the station, whether it's full or not, is going to be loaded onto our machine. I love the animation in this. Puts our little cargo containers onto our flatbeds. Again, if we were pumping liquid, those would be tanks instead of containers. Okay, now it's gonna, this is the key. Once that thing stops. Yep, there we go. Looks like it's, the fact that we're moving tells me that we're going to be able to get home. And that the traffic circle is gonna work. Yes? Oh yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, you can see we're moving along at 120 kilometers an hour, consuming 27 megawatts. Okay, so the scaling in this game, as far as power goes, irks me just a little bit. Only because power is the industry that I have expertise in. In fact, when I first came into the industry, I trained on literal locomotive engines. They were engines that used to be in a locomotive, but they had been removed, and they were put onto a skid, covered with a shelter. And that engine was attached to the same generator that the locomotive used. It was a 1.5 megawatt generator, and we had 3 of them, basically 3 locomotives worth of engines in one kind of power plant that I trained on. So one locomotive only used 1.5 megawatts that was from the 50s, and it hasn't changed much over the years. But it's certainly not the 25 megawatts that this thing pretends. So I don't like the scaling there. It's not accurate. This game assumes much higher power consumption for certain machines than would actually happen, but you know what? It's a game. We'll play with it. Okay, now let's watch this thing work. It removes the containers. And because the station is empty, it takes everything in the containers and puts it into the station. If there was anything in the station backed up that it couldn't get rid of, then it would actually leave some materials on the train. And the containers would stay. Okay, we're gonna hit E, we're gonna get off the train, and we're gonna let it go. Okay, now let's see what this thing's at. Okay, you can see all the plastic is here on both stations. So that is pretty freaking awesome. So that is how trains work. And you're going to see we're going to use a whole bunch of trains, and just so awesome to actually put these things to work. Okay, but for now, we've got hard drives to check on, if you remember. Also, I want to check on what's it going to cost us. Organization, to set up a radar tower, we're going to need some crystal oscillators, aren't we? And some, what do you call it? So we're going to need some reinforced frames. That's okay. Well, what are we short on? We're short on crystal oscillators. What do we need a ton of? Wow, we might actually not have enough crystal to do it. Crystal oscillators, that's another case of things that we need to, like, set up a machine that will trickle build them. We don't need a lot of them, but we're going to need some, and I think setting up some machines to just sort of create them would be very helpful. Might as well grab the rest. Okay, let's check out the MAM. Let's see what alternate recipes have been given to us. What other options? Let's see. Copper cables. Oh, wow, can be made from what now? From iron ingots turning into copper wire? That's kind of cool. That's actually very cool. I kind of like that. What is this thing? Crystal beacon. No, don't need that, but I kind of like this. Let's go ahead and confirm that. Okay. And once we get some space in our inventory, we'll actually move the next hard drive over there. I have a feeling we might not get enough crystal oscillators. Well, you know what? I think we'll actually disassemble that truck. We might get some crystal oscillators out of that. We'll see. Oh, no, we should get enough. This should give us enough. Enough to make a radar tower. Radar tower, we just need 2 more circuits. Got it. Now let me show you what a radar tower can do. Where can we set it up? You know what? Let's set it up right here. How much space? About like that? What are we missing? Oh, cable, are you kidding me? Okay. Maybe we'll set it up over here. Kind of out of the way. So let's take a look at the map now. This is what the map looks like without a radar tower. Boom. Let's attach power to it. And here's what it looks like with the radar tower. It tells us there are slugs in the area. These other items here tells us there are fauna found in the area. But the very cool thing... Okay, let's go ahead. Can we turn this off? Can we actually close that out? No, I guess not. But this will show us where all these resources are that we have not yet tapped. And we can go ahead and exploit them. And we could pull this thing up and set it up to find oil. For example, over here, it'll tell us where all the oil whatnots, all the oil wells are found. Is it this one right here? Yes, this one is the container that needs to receive plastic. We're going to go ahead and make sure this container gets plastic. So let's do that now. Okay, in this case, we're actually going to go a little bit under the train station. Again, I love using the subfloors as much as possible, so that's what we're going to do. And if I did this properly, be able to... Okay, I haven't cooked this up yet, so we're going to hook these up here. And these are going to download the plastic. Oops, we got to connect the belts up. There we go. Wasn't quite close enough to do an automatic connection. Boom, there we go. They're going under the tracks, and I've got them together here, merged to feed that container. Now, the reason I'm still making 2 outputs is so that both are being unloaded evenly. And right now, there's only one place that the plastic is going. But when the time comes, there'll be other needs for it. And again, actually, this will not be the final destination for plastic. This is just sort of a glorified bootstrap base, which we've discussed before. This isn't concerned with quantity. It's more or less concerned with just making the item, even if it's a trickle. And that's what we're doing right now. We're trickling production of circuits And computers, you can see here, computers are being made because circuit boards are being made. And that is really all we're looking to do right now. Later on, we'll get more robust production numbers up, but right now this is all we're shooting for. Okay, one final thing before we call this second half over. Let's go ahead and get the third hard drive processed, or at least we'll get the process started, and then come next episode we'll figure out what that recipe is going to be. Or you know what, no, we'll go ahead, we'll figure it out this episode. That way I know what to do off camera. I've got options off camera. So let's go ahead, hard drive, we'll scan it, and we'll come back when it's done scanning. Okay, we are closing in on finishing up this research. I just want to point something out to you. The truck is something that can be researched in the hub. You remember at the hub, there's a lot of things that become available as you research the different milestones, and one of those things is the truck that becomes available. But the Explorer is not one of those things. The Explorer can only be accessed through the MAM. Some things can only be accessed through the MAM, and the Explorer is one of them. And okay, once this thing is almost done, okay, there we go. All right, what are we gonna do? Oh man. But no, this is reducing the constructor alternate bio coal. Let's see, could we make cable? Oh, we could make cable using deuterium and rubber. Oh, that could be good, because there aren't enough uses for rubber out there, or deuterium wire. Oh yeah, you know what? Let's select this one right here. We'll confirm that, and that'll be our next awesome recipe. Cool. Okay, so let me look. If I go under quartz, where is it? Okay, crystal oscillator. Maybe it's here. Okay, yeah, the Explorer appears under quartz, believe it or not. Sounds kind of weird, but just know if you're looking for it in the game, it's not going to be under any of the milestones. It's going to have to be researched at the MAM, and so is the radar tower. The radar tower is a MAM item, not the hub. So keep in mind, there's a lot of great things. Like one of the things here, I'll try to research for the next time around, is explosive rebars. So these rebars, this rebar gun that we've got, we can actually fire explosive rebar from it, which has the same power as these explosive charges. So that's a thing. So anyway, that's something we'll consider when we come back. Yeah, lots of great stuff. But anyway, okay, so this one episode turned into a two-parter, as you can tell. Sorry it took so long. I guess it was a little ambitious, a little over-ambitious with what I thought we could do. But anyway, now that we've covered trains with so much we can pick at next time around. Same with oil. So things are going to be a little bit different, a little more expanded next time, and we'll talk about those things. So, you know, if you like what you see, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, would help me out, and we'll cover more next time. Y'all have a wonderful day, and I will see you then. Ciao.